Hello everybody, I'm Adrian and here I got my F150. Generally I'm usually making videos about my Corvette or the Maserati, but I also got this truck. So this truck is 2002, and one of the things to watch out for on old vehicles is rubber. So this here is one of the brake hoses. So I already replaced this one. This one was for the passenger side. So went ahead and replaced the brand new line. I did this once not too long ago, the sway bar bushings. It's just one of the things to watch out for when vehicles get old. Rubber just tends to get old, so it's common to have oil leaks and rubber wearing out, like on brake lines. And it's especially important on the steer ones, because these are the ones that get the most motion just from turning. This line actually happened to bust on me, so I'll go ahead and separate it. That's what happened to it. Luckily it didn't happen going down the road, so I could just feel the brake pedal getting kind of smooshy, and I came home one day, was just bleeding the brakes, and it just happened to bust. So I already got the right side replaced. I'm going to do the one on the steer left side, then later on I'll do the ones for the rear as well. But I wanted to get my front ones replaced just because I can tell this one's also got a lot of wear too, and it might go out at any time. So these ones are pretty simple. So this body was from 1997 to 2003. So we have our sealing washers for the banjo bolt, and then this bolt right here. So I went ahead and raised it up just to have a little bit more room, but I could have done without jacking it up a little bit. And I just put a piece of cardboard just so I don't make a lot of mess. And something that's good on old vehicles is a little bit of WD-40. That's penetrating oil. That's just the brand that I'm using, because I can see that we got a little bit of rust on the top bolt, and then this is the top brake line. Alrighty, so I've been kind of working it. The bracket even bent back a little bit just because it was kind of tight to get loose. So I highly recommend the flare nut wrench, because like I said, they're for this application, and you definitely don't want to strip this out. So now when I did my other side, I could feel that it was gonna come loose with just a normal wrench, but if it feels like it just does not want to break loose with a normal wrench, then I highly recommend doing it with a flare nut wrench before it gets rounded off, because that's not something you want to round off on the brake system. So it's coming off normal, so I'm good. And also it definitely helped out that I sprayed some WD-40 to help it break loose. So I'll just work this out. I've already loosened the bracket bolt. That's a 10 millimeter. So we got 7/16 or an 11 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and then I'm using a 9/16 here. So I went ahead and got this bolted down. I just put cut out a small piece of water bottle just so it can be gravity bleeding. About the hardest part of this job, I would say, is getting that flare nut started. So I sprayed several times WD-40 so I could get this to turn by hand. So because you don't want to put a wrench in there and cross thread it in there, you want to start it by hand. So now that I've started it, I will bolt this 10mm bolt and bolt the bracket back in the frame and then finish tightening it. And then I will tighten this down and open up my bleeder screw and let it bleed from the bleeder screw. And just gravity bleeding should pretty much be all I need to do. So after I let it gravity bleed, I did have to manually bleed the brakes like 2-3 times, so I had somebody press the pedal for me while I opened up the bleeder, and then pedal goes down to the floor as the brake fluid is released, and then close up the bleeder, releasing the pedal, and then pressing the pedal again and cracking that bleeder. But it's important for the assistant not to release the pedal while the screw's open, because that could get air back into the system.